didn't think it was firing squad day. I wanted to talk about something called the exemption of the Levites. The tribe of Levi. The exemption of the tribe of Levi. The exemption of the Levites. God was talking about on Julie Green a while ago in 2023, saying that it was the greater exodus, and he was letting everyone out of slavery, and just like before in the exodus, but now it's like there's a lot more people, and there's the whole world, and he said the United States would go first, and he said the rest of the world will follow. I just want to let people know that, because like, if you ever read the First Covenant in the Old Testament, I read it a few years before 2023, and it really made me sad, because I said, wow, I said, these people really slap God in the face, like, you know, when you say you get a metaphorical slap in the face, that was our slap in the face, you know, you embarrassed me in front of my mother, but you know what I mean, like, that is what happened, and then they did it again, and then God had them all killed, except for the tribe of Levi. All those people he let out of Egypt, they went, he said they could have went quicker, but they wandered in the desert for 40 years. It took a while. They got to where they were going. He did miracles, you know, to save them. You know, he killed Pharaoh and his army. He dunked their special Egyptian chariots into the ocean. You know, they drowned. He, like, separated the waters and led, you know, Moses and the rest of the people out on, you know, a dry path through the water. Meanwhile, he drowned the Egyptians, the army of the Pharaoh. And anyway, point is, eventually, whenever they went to where they were and settled, he gave Moses instructions to build like a tent thing with like an altar nearby, and there was like certain things and certain ways to decorate it, things that reminded people of Eden, so they could spend time in the tent and dwell with God and be like close to God, like just spend private time with God. And apparently, like, everyone except the Levites was like worshiping, they started worshiping like a sculpture again and doing some wacky stuff. I'm assuming they were probably getting screwed up and having orgies and doing sick things and being evil or gross or violent or something, because you know, if they're doing these weird things with these sculptures and false god, the thing is they started worshiping a false god. Well, they knew God was there, because remember, God came down with fire and burned the tops of that mountain range black. It's still black to this day. It's still scorched. And he gave Moses the 10 Commandments, you know, and Moses got the instructions to build this thing, and God said, don't ornament the altar, don't decorate it. And when these other people got all in their demon worship wild nights, they like basically it's like graffitied the altar, and they were worshiping a false god. And how disrespectful could you be? They were pretending God wasn't there anymore, even though he had done all these miracles, you know, in the day and the night with the pillar of fire, and shaded them from the sun, and fed them manna from the desert, and then had Moses strike a rock and made water come out to give them water. You know, all these miracles, right? And they acted like he wasn't even there. They pretended he didn't exist. And they were worshiping like a sculpture or something and a fake god. So he was going to kill them all. And then Moses was like, oh no, like, and he begged for their lives and said, please, please, like, I'll talk to them and I'll change this, like, please give them another chance. So God said, okay, I'll give them another chance. But they did it again. And then God said, who here still worships God? And the tribe of Levi came, and that was it. And remember, there was like the 12 tribes or whatever, so only a little portion of them came. And he said, okay, like, you guys still worship me. Nobody else showed up, because however he said it, when he said it, maybe it's like how Jesus says, like, my sheep know my voice. Like, you just would know when you would come, right? But nobody else came, so he knew, like, they really aren't worshiping me. Only these guys showed up. They heard my voice. They got summoned. They came. Nobody else did. So he said, go go down there and kill every one of them. He said, kill every man and his brother. And so he sent the tribe of Levi to go out and kill the rest of them. All the people that had been freed from the Egyptian slavery and Exodus, they all went, and they went for years, but then they turned on God and started worshiping a fake God and acting like fools and evildoers, and what a slap in the face. And he had them all killed. And that's called the exemption of the tribe of Levi, because they were exempt from being killed, because they still worshiped God. So it's pretty important. And you know, haters and any atheists and the Antichrist in them and all, they're always questioning, oh, why this? And I blame God, blame God, blame God. Why would God have them all killed? Blah, 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 blah. Don't you think it's pretty sick what they're doing? I don't know if you know about Babylon and Sodom and these false god cults over the years. Even they went on in Egypt. They're going on in the United States. They were going on all over. You see these Bohemian Grove people. Do you know what Jeffrey Epstein's niece said on Sean Atwood? Like, that's how they roll. You know, Epstein Island, P. Diddy, Bohemian Grove, probably the Bilderbergers and the CFR and everything else. Whoever. But it's like you slap God in the face and you totally disrespect him, pretend he doesn't exist, and then start worshiping a statue in front of him and acting like lunatics and fools. That's real nice. But that's why gratitude is important with God. But truth and honesty is too, because you can't just sit there and say, we want to pretend he don't exist now, and we want to do our own thing and have our, like incest rape orgies and full moon festivals and stuff, or not festivals, whatever they are, the full moon gatherings, Anyway, since he said it was the Greater Exodus 2023, I wonder if eventually, will it take 40 years this time? Will it happen quicker? But eventually, will there be a group of people that turns their back on him and he has to have them killed and has an exemption of the Levites again? I'm in an exemption of the Levites. Yep, I'm not doing the things with the mask people. I'm not worshiping the golden calf. I'm not practicing slavery. I just thought, at one point in the Old Testament, God said, my people had died for lack of knowledge, right? And if you don't know something, rather than rejecting it, which is what people often do and try to beat down the truth, right? Which is the story of my life, God knows. But it's better for you to learn it and adapt and say, oh, okay, now I know this. Oh, look how useful that is, I'm spreading this message so people might think about the seriousness of things and, how vile and disgusting some of their blatant disrespect towards God is, and consider that, maybe that's what God and Jesus talk about with, turn back to God, repent, because if you don't, and you wait too long, he might, cast you into damnation in the judgment if you really are a wicked person. Jesus says, don't think that some of my people weren't wicked before. Like, some of Jesus' people were very bad people before they were converted. In the Bible, there's like a people that, in one instance, they're like, we used to be lustful, but like now we are not. Like, I hate sin. I sinned before, but then I realized I was like confused, bewildered, mind controlled, and like everything was confusion, and it's like, then I was like, I hate sin, and I don't drink, I haven't fornicated in years, and I stopped drinking years ago even. Like, I realized this whole thing is a big, disgusting, like, trick, and that, like, I was just like, we were all just, like, taught the wrong kind of, tell you the truth, Well, they were trying to set us up to fail in this world. It was the beast system is what was going on now. But God said on Julie Green again, he's been saying for a long time, but he's been talking about ripping it down. I'm ripping it down and destroying it. So he says you can also help to cast it down, that you can yell at the sky and say, beast system down! Beast system down! And that it must obey you. So I like to do that. I know he can't do it too quick. He does it at a certain rate. He's waiting for people, I guess, maybe some last-minute repenters, But he talks about in the Bible, if he does it too quick, getting rid of the wicked, that you'll be overtaken by wild animals or something. I know, it's weird. He's also called the Strange Father. Somewhere in the Bible it says the Strange Father. It's another title of his. But anyway, just warning everybody about, some of this stuff. I've been concerned with the population because, and I mean, I even saw people close to me getting into addicted to their television, or everybody with their almost like cult-like slavery at concerts. I went to a Weezer concert decades ago, and I remember all these people were putting up this W sign above their heads, and they just looked like slave minions that were just staring at the stage. But most people weren't even dancing, or what's that, when you have a mosh pit. And they had changed from years before, when it was more like 90s, and people were a little bit more alive seeming, and a little bit more responsive, and it was weird. I remember that, and I was like, this is weird. And I noticed more and more, I was like, these people are slave minions at these concerts. They worship. They're like, oh yeah, I love that guy, I love that band, I love this, I love that, I love that. I think how much energy they put into this, these things that they get into, and I think do they put that kind of energy into loving God, loving life itself? Because a lot of what that entertainment business was mixed up in is not really love. They might talk about it in some songs hopefully, but you gotta realize, hey ladies, if you're a normal sexuality person, all these guys, I think most people kind of get it by now, but telling other people, or that maybe the young people don't know yet, I don't know, they probably do because of what's happened. But it's a lot of these people have just been a bunch of disgusting two-bit swindler, pedophile, rapist, molester, pimp, a gross pharaoh. They would just, they would take everything they could, if, bondage, slavery, and then I'll beat you with a whip, whatever they were doing. It got even worse too. But, you look back and you say, these people that people got obsessed with and wasted all this time and energy with, oh, he's so hot, oh, I like him, I love him, oh, blah, 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 blah. All these people oogling, doting on the same people, the same celebrities. Pretty gross. Anyway, I'm sure there's a lot of adultery that goes on towards a lot of those people, and it's a sin from the, what's that called, the fans end. But it's just pretty gross, because you really gotta realize some of these people that people are crushing on, and there's not these people are just disgusting, evil, scumbag loser rapists and molesters and pedos. And it's this is what their Balaamite, New Age Balaamite, satanic temple crap is that's part of their thing. They try to bemuse you, the Buddha was don't get bemused, don't get spellbound by them, don't be cursed by them, don't believe their evil report about all their trying to make you fear and make you think you have to get all these sicknesses and diseases. Yeah, just focus on the good report. And that's what they try to do, though, with evil report these days, is they're trying to parasympathetic magic, whether it's through commercials of constantly talking about sicknesses and illnesses and fake medicines and real medicines, vaccines, fake vaccines. But it's curses and hexes and parasympathetic magic. What they think they're trying to do and pull off is they're trying to Munchausen syndrome you, basically. Parasympathetic is if something's mentally accepted by somebody in their mind, and it's almost if somebody puts